Hello everyone, and welcome back to World of Warships Blitz with Terry. Today we are looking at a ship that I actually took a look at quite a while back when the ship came out, and that is the St. Vincent, the Tier 10 British battlecruiser. Not a battleship, but a battlecruiser. We don't have this kind of whole classification or ship type classification in the game. It classifies as a battleship, but trust me, it's a battlecruiser. That said, in terms of armor, the British battleship lines in general have not been particularly blessed by wargaming, so it's not that big of a difference. Anyway, why are we looking at the St. Vincent again? Well, when I looked at it first, the turret bug was still in effect, and that meant that the middle turret was often relatively hard to use, which means that oftentimes you ended up with just using the two forward turrets, and that did not go so well. But the turret bug has been fixed, which means we can now perceive the full glory of the St. Vincent. For those of you who are not familiar with the ship, let me give you a very quick rundown before we get into some gameplay. There are two ships I would like to compare the St. Vincent to. First, we're going to compare her not to the Incomparable, because you cannot compare something to the Incomparable on account of her being incomparable. Makes sense, right? No, we're going to look at the Thundra, the Tier 10 premium battleship. And the reason we're doing that is because they have technically the same gun caliber. And technically the same guns, really. The difference being that while the Thundra gets 8 of them, and the St. Vincent gets obviously 9, the Thundra has a significantly faster reload, but the St. Vincent's guns hit really, really hard. So oftentimes you find with the British battleships that, well, the armor piercing isn't quite as good as on other ships. In return, they get really, really good high explosive shells. The battle cruiser line is a little different in that regard. I mean, the high explosive shells still aren't bad, but the armor piercing rocks. The other ship that we want to, well, we're not going to compare her to the Incomparable, but we are obviously just going to look at the hull, because while she has a little bit more hit points than the Incomparable, otherwise it's relatively the same thing. Not an awful lot of armor. The British battle cruisers are even worse than the British battleships, so very squishy ships, but very firepower focused. And obviously, while the Incomparable's guns, well, cannot be compared to anything because they are 508mm guns, the St. Vincent gets 9 of them, whereas the Incomparable only gets 6. So in that regard, I think we are onto something here. There is another thing that's special about the British battlecruiser line, and that these are the ship skills. The St. Vincent gets a defensive AA, which, given that her base AA isn't the greatest for Tier 10, is actually quite nice. She does get an engine boost, which is really nice, because it is a battle cruiser and you need to get yourself into positions. She also gets the heavy repair team, or the super heal, which means that you only get 2 repair kits per battle, but in return they do a lot more repair. So you have to be a bit, you have to use them a little differently, because you can, with the right setup, heal about half of your ship back almost with these things. So you can HP tank quite a bit more in these ships. The other thing that's special about the St. Vincent is that, and the battle cruisers, is that they have torpedoes. Now, these are your proper First World War design underwater single torpedo tubes that we've found in battleships. And so she can only fire a single torpedo, or 2 of them, but 1 on each side. That said, she's got very, very good forward angles of these torpedoes, and they do a lot of damage with 7,000 points of damage, and they reload reasonably quickly. But yeah, you only get 1 of them. But they can come as a little surprise at times if somebody isn't prepared for them. The AA isn't terrible, but with the defensive AA up, obviously, it becomes a very, very viable AA ship. And the other thing that you really need to know about these things is the surface detection. So I have got the surface detection down to just over 9 kilometers. That is heavy cruiser level of surface detection. So they are relatively sneaky. So the St. Vincent that I'll be sailing goes with a fully decked out setup. I have got the historical camo on, which is your standard battleship camo, except for it isn't. In the hit points and the firing range, yes, but instead of dispersion, you get secondary range, and instead of torpedo damage reduction, which is useless, you get torpedo range, which is better. There's also an alternative camo, which gives you hit points, firing range, dispersion, and the traverse speed instead of the torpedo damage reduction, which is all good stuff. But I'd say they're both useful. I would have loved one that has. I would have loved one that had concealment. So if the historical one instead of torpedo range had concealment, which is effectively the same thing, but more useful in general, I would have preferred that. But still, they're both decent camos, so I would say it goes down to taste which one you want. If you want to go for the tighter dispersion, then the industrial camo is your friend here. The secondary range is not quite as useful, but in general, it's not a. They're both good fits for the ship. Now I have put a legendary command, not a legendary, an epic commander on here, John Tovey. There are legendary commanders that you can fit, specifically Nelson, I think, because the one thing that you really want is the survivalist skill, because you can stack the heals the boosts to the heals quite well. And with the extra 15% or from the legendary commander's 22.5%, you can really increase the amount of hit points that you can restore, and you can manage your health pool quite well that way and play a little bit more aggressively than otherwise. The other reason I'm using Tovey is because he's the only commander in the British line that gets the armor-piercing capped shell plus. And these armor-piercing shells are very, very, very good. So, yeah, setup-wise, I am using the main battery mod 3. You could probably also try the reload, but more specifically, or you could even go for auxiliary armament if you wanted to. But more specifically, the one that I would recommend here is the concealment, because that helps you getting into positions where you can be useful, and it allows you to disengage together with the engine boost if you have to, because again, relatively squishy ship. What else do we need to look at? Yeah, there's really no choice here. The torpedo damage reduction is completely useless on this ship, so do yourself a favor and use the elite gun operator. All right, so we'll be just playing 2 battles in the St. Vincent back to back with this setup, just to show you what this ship can do now that the turret back has fixed, and give you a bit of an update on my thoughts on if this is a line worth grinding towards the end. The first round on everybody's favorite tier 10 map, base capture on encounter. We are top tier, obviously, playing against Taiho, another St. Vincent, Großer Kurfürst, Colombo, an Izumo, Napoli, and a Lushun. So with carriers in play, you can make yourself useful in terms of AA. I can't remember if the AA buff actually was affecting the battle cruisers as well, or if that was only done to the battleships. I think it was only done to the battleships, but I might be wrong here. But we'll be a little careful at the onset of the battle, because with the historical camo, we have a relatively good range on the main guns, and we don't want to rush ahead into the enemy team, because this ship is not the most well-armored thing, and there's a carrier out there. I do have a Montana with me, so I'm going to stick close to the Monty, and we will see what the carrier is doing. Now, this map is usually a base trade map. Especially, I found that especially on the Asian server, on NA, not always, but especially on Asia, I find that it often ends up being a base trade. There is the enemy Lushun, so let's get a couple shots out and see if we can hit him while returning to just stick with Monty here and double up our AA. There come the enemy fighters in, and I appear to have completely missed the Lushun with my forward gun turrets. So we'll deal with the enemy planes. And Lucian is has a großer Kurfürst to shoot at. Can I just get in range, please? Oh, he goes undetected. That's unfortunate. Okay, I want to get another shot out at the Lucian. And he is going relatively slow, so maybe I can catch him like... No, I appear to have completely missed again. Alright, so there are probably torpedoes in the water. So we're going to slow down, but that großer Kurfürst is pretty much what's between us and the enemy capture circle. So it's a little unfortunate that all the battleships on our side are going on one direction. I would have preferred if they were, if that battleship there in the center here on our side was going the other way, but well, it is what it is. Anyway, Monty and myself should be able to deal with a GK, and maybe the carrier can help out on the other flank a little bit because there's too much of a concentration. But again, this is the Asian server. People love the lemming train on this on this map. So I'm using the Monty as a shield while wailing away at the großer Kurfürst, and I can double up as AA protection for the Montana here. Okay, at least the battleship on our side is staying behind. That's good. So they have realized that we probably don't want to push, and one of our destroyers is keeping the enemy battleships at bay at the other side. But yeah, there you can see what this ship can do against the großer Kurfürst. It is a bit of a monster, to be honest. And together with the carrier, that großer Kurfürst is going to go down. And yeah, the Audacious has taken him down. So next up is the enemy Taiho, and the Lucian seems to have buggered off. So this is really a good time to spin up the engine boost, get up to 37 knots, and go for the enemy carrier. It'd be nice if we could get him respotted, but that's quite all right. Now it looks like one of their cruisers has taken on the destroyer on the other flank, and we'll see if one of their battleships is coming back. But there's the Taiho. So let's dispatch of the carrier, and then we will deal with that battleship that needs to go. Yep, there's another nice citadel. That's the enemy St. Vincent. Okay. So while they are trying to defend our capture circle, we are going to have to go for their cap. But obviously, the enemy St. Vincent is going to try and do something about that. We're shooting some more planes down, and oh, just got lucky there, that Taiho, that I didn't take him out. But that's about all the damage he is going to do. However, he still has his fighters up, and keep an eye on those fighters. That's going to become important later. Anyway, that enemy St. Vincent needs to go, because they start capping, and we have lost our battleship back there, and we've lost the cruiser that was pushing with us, and needlessly so, may I add. And we do need to cap as quickly as possible. So I'm using the engine boost again, and there you've seen the super heal in action. It was basically just make me a new ship here, and it looks like the friendly carrier may have left it a little too long to attack the Izumo has taken out our friendly Audacious, unfortunately. Okay, let's get the torpedoes on target. Not before we're firing the guns. Obviously, the enemy St. Vincent has torpedoes as well, and should know that I have them. So he's already turning in. So I'm going to donk them in the direction that I think he is going to be when he's trying to dodge my torpedo. He thought I was already firing it. I've just waited for when he would slow down. Now, if he was speeding up again at this point, and there comes his torpedo, which is why I'm going reverse. But I think he has, he's running into my torpedo. So that's an additional sum of damage. Obviously, he hurts, but I've still got Montana with me. The problem obviously being that we are a bit late in capping. So I'm not going to need the torpedoes anymore. We're going to get another salvo off, and that's the end of that St. Vincent. But now we have a bit of a problem, because they have already capped out, and they are going to be running ahead on point, because the Lucian has taken out the friendly Jutland. And St. Vincent still got the torpedo reload off. These torpedoes reload quickly. Now remember the fighters I was telling you about earlier. The enemy team is ahead on points, and the reason for that is that they have capped earlier than us. Now, they're not winning by capping. The problem is I'm far away. Now, this is a fast ship, especially with the engine boost, but sort of the game now relies on our destroyer of doing something about of being able to kill either the cruiser or the enemy battleship. Now, technically, the destroyer should be capable of doing that, because that's a Shimakaze. But he's got fighters overhead, so he's air spotted, which means he is stuck pretty much. And that, I think, was either that was either a Napoli or I don't know what the battleship. I can't remember what the battleship was, but that's probably a Colombo. So yeah, there's the Napoli. Now I'm going to get a salvo off at the Napoli, so I am thinking that he's going to try and outrun Shimakaze torpedoes potentially, but actually the Napoli stops, which prevents me from getting the kill here. But the Shimakaze is going to die, and there he goes. Yeah, Colombo has taken him out, and the Napoli has actually not run into either the Shimakaze's torpedoes or into my salvo. Either way, it wouldn't have mattered because the Shimakaze has died, and even if I had gotten the Napoli down, I think we would have still lost on points due to the fact that they had a head start in capping. That said, this is what a St. Vincent can do on a casual game. Granted, with fully upgraded, but it's quite impressive. The firepower that this thing brings to bear. So, especially against enemy battleships and cruisers, if she can catch them, is an absolute monster of a ship. So I went again, and I'm back on base capture, on encounter. Against Midway, Vermont, Schlieffen, a Luchuan, Yodo, Delny, and a Lucian. I can totally not remember what the Luchuan was. Was that an Izumo? Oh no, that was the Baji, wasn't it? I can't remember what this thing is, but it's something British, I think. I really can't remember. Anyway, a lion maybe. Where are we? We are pretty much on the same position, but on the other side of the map at this point. I have a Großer Kurfürst and a Shimakaze with me, and I think that's the same Shimakaze we had last time. So, GK, you want to come with? There are two destroyers, so we're going to need the carrier to do a bit of scouting here, if possible. Alternatively, the Shimakaze can probably do it. And the Shimakaze is smart. Look at what the Shimakaze is doing. Destroyer players. He sees the enemy carrier coming this way. He sees that there is a battleship or battlecruiser with defensive AA, and he parks himself next to it. Destroyer players. That is an excellent idea. You do not rush out, and I have no idea what the enemy Midway is up to. But yeah, you do not just rush out into the carrier scout and get yourself killed on the onset of the battle, especially against an American carrier. Because if that thing gets lucky on the dive bombers, then yeah, things won't go so well. So let's deal with some incoming aircraft while still trying to do something about the Delny. Obviously the Delny is going to have torpedoes away. I have switched to the high explosive, but the Delny isn't stupid. He's just going to kite away. And this is what you want to do in a destroyer. You want to just keep the enemy team... And I really have problems hitting destroyers with these guns. You want to keep the enemy team at bay. You want to use area denial torpedoes. And you want to give your other flank, if you're playing that way, you want to give your other flank an opportunity to go around. Now, Shimakaze is being air spotted by the Midway because the Midway's fighter is keeping pinned. And there's a Yodo out there. So I'm going to rush ahead. Delny's probably reloaded by now, but Yodo unfortunately has gone unspotted. So another attempt at hitting the Delny. And I think that thing is faster than I thought. Dang it! Nobody saw that, right? Still giving air cover to the GK while dodging the incoming airstrike there. But I would really love for that Delny to be gone, and I think the Yodo was spotted there for a second, but he has gone undetected again. And that Delny is annoying as. If the GK was pushing with me, we could take him, but the Großer Kurfürst doesn't want to get torpedoed either. Fortunately, the Shimakaze is on the ball, well played Shimakaze, and has taken down the Yodo. Good job there. I'm really trying to get some hits in on the Delny, but obviously at this range, hitting destroyers is going to be not happening. So not an awful lot of an effect so far, but the rest of the team is holding the other flank, but we have to make something happen here. Großer Kurfürst, let's go. Delny at this point, Großer Kurfürst has come to the same conclusion that he really needs to be in secondary range of the Delny, and the Delny isn't making it hard because he keeps shooting at us, but goes defensive against the Großer Kurfürst, and I'm engine boosting the other side, just waiting for him to make the turn. See if we can land those shells on target at this range. Yes, we can, and that's more like it. And do I need the torpedoes? Well, I'll get them out, but shouldn't have bothered. Großer Kurfürst has taken him down, has avoided the torpedoes, and now they are open, which means I can get back into position, and we're going to deal with that midway once and for all, while the Shimakaze is taking on the enemy Schlieffen in a point-blank engagement, which is not a healthy decision. But once again, the Shimakaze has fighters on top of him, so he doesn't have an awful lot of a choice, really. And he has taken down the Schlieffen. Well played, Shimakaze. So now it's just for us to wipe the midway off the floor, and then we're going for the cap, because at this point the enemy team only has 2 battleships on the other flank remaining. So we may as well push through now that we've done this, and that should hopefully be the end of the midway. And yeah, there she goes. So now we can go for the capture circle and the midway. I'm not sure what the friendly carrier is doing. Oh, the friendly carrier is dead. Well, that's what he's doing. But the Vermont has taken down the Conqueror. So, and the midway has taken down the Shimakaze. Must have been a dive bomber strike, or was that a torpedo strike and the Shimakaze wasn't paying attention? But Shimakaze has been playing well. She took down and's been unlucky as usual with the fighters. Luchon. I forgot how to pronounce that thing. I looked it up when I did the review. Did I do the review? I think I did. But whatever it is, that thing is going down, and he's firing high explosive at me. Okay, sure. You do that. I'm in a battlecruiser. Please use armor piercing. I'm not sure what that is with the planes hanging in the air there. Wargaming. You sure about this? Anyway, and he doesn't follow up the high explosive with a damage con. Okay, anyway, that's fine. So we're capping, and I think the Vermont is being chased away by the destroyer that has been defending the friendly cap. And that means now that he's back, and he is volunteering to give almost broadside to a St. Vincent, and that is generally unhealthy. And yep, there he goes. There goes our second citadel. You can score quite a few citadels in the ship if you get lucky with the rolls. But can we get him before he manages to get behind the island? We will see. Salvo out. And then we'll take on the Vermont, but I am most certainly going to be sitting in that capture circle. Oh, he gets away again. I am unlucky. One of the shells bounced, but again got unlucky. They're not going to kill the 2 of us before we're capping out. I think the GK is actually it's going to go for no cap kill all. But weirder things have happened. I'd rather farm a bit more damage than. And secure the win than going overboard here, but there we go. And despite the fact that we were stuck against that Delny's area denial in the beginning of the battle, we still managed to come on top of the team. So this is a ship that can easily, and you've seen, I've only had the second half of the battle to actually hit things. Most of the time I've been trying to deal with the Delny. This is a ship that can easily score 100 to 150,000 points of damage in a battle. It's not a grand feat. The guns are absolutely monstrous, and the precision combined with the speed and the concealment and the capability of getting herself into positions makes this for a very, very, very good ship, really. You play it like a battlecruiser. And battle cruisers historically were not meant as ships of the line. They were not meant to fight in the battle line. They were auxiliaries. So in a way, so what you would want to do, Jutland happens when you're trying to do that. What you would want to do is lend some AA to friendly ships, get yourself into positions. You can HP tank a surprising amount of damage, but obviously if you get focused, you need to get out of there. But find yourself good positions. She's got a good range, a good precision on the guns, and an absolute monstrous amount of damage that she can dish out with the main guns. So don't be tempted into seeing this as a brawler. She can, but it's not like the German line. It's not like the Schlieffen. The specialty of this thing is to absolutely massacre things from mid to long range, and then get in close when you have your targets cleared. And this is an absolutely excellent ship now that they have fixed the turret bug, and you can keep that Q turret on target, and it's very much worth grinding the line for this ship, in my opinion. And that's it for me today. Thanks everybody, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.